Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unity of Fredericksburg. My name is Chris, and I am pleased to welcome all of you to Unity of Fredericksburg's weekly online gathering. At Unity of Fredericksburg, we are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. We thank those of you watching on YouTube or live, and we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're able to attend live, we encourage you to join us in the Zoom community room on Sundays. You'll get the full Sunday morning experience. That includes music, prayer, and connection. Our weekly newsletter includes the Sunday service link, and you can subscribe to receive that on our website at uofva.org. For everyone local to Central Virginia, Unity of Fredericksburg offers a variety of fun and enriching in-person activities. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter at uofva.org for all the details. Our message today comes from our minister, Reverend Cheryl Fair. Now, here's Reverend Cheryl.
Thank you, Chris. Hello, 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 everyone. So glad to be here with everyone who is with us in the Zoom room right now and everyone watching on YouTube, whether you're watching right now or you're watching later. We're so glad to have you as a part of the energy that makes up Unity of Fredericksburg. So our broadcast date today is August the 25th. 2024. And did you know that August 25th in the United States is known as National Banana Split Day? So I didn't know that. So let me tell you a little bit about that. The origins of the banana split can be traced back to 1904 in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. David Strickler, a 23-year-old pharmacist, had a knack for creating innovative sundaes at the pharmacy's soda fountain. And one inspired day, he split a banana lengthwise, topped it with 3 scoops of ice cream, chocolate syrup, marshmallow sauce, nuts, and a cherry, and the banana split was born. So I hope everyone enjoys National Banana Split Day. And sometimes something sweet can be really good for our well-being, right? And our theme for 2024, as we know, folks, is well-being. Our focus for August, what we've been talking about this month, is occupational well-being. Now, we know that an occupation can be a job or a profession, but it can also just kind of be a line of work, a walk of life, a vocation, a calling. It's all related to our sense of purpose, right? Which really amounts to how we spend our time, how we focus our energy in this life. And at the beginning of the month, we talked about how that kind of focus can shift over the course of a lifetime, but that we usually have a sense of through line, something that has been our focus through our whole lives, and it just shows up in different ways. So it could be caring for others, or creating, or studying and expressing a certain kind of knowledge and ability. So having an awareness of what our through line is, or our why, can help us during times of transition when we go from being fully employed to retired, or when we go from expanding our family in whatever way, or our family contracting. Like, knowing what our through line is, what our why is as a person, can help us. And last week we talked about things, spiritual practices that we can use to help us work through perceived obstacles. And today we're talking about outcomes, essentially, because very often our sense of purpose and what we feel called to do gets mixed up with ideas and beliefs that we carry about outcomes in our material lives. So we're going to be teasing that apart today of kind of, see if we can separate out the things that we believe about how things should go in the outer world and things that we believe in our divine nature. So my title today is If at First You Don't Succeed, ... And most of us will have the refrain that comes after that, right? Try again. That proverb can be traced back to the 1800s, to the writings of an educator named Thomas Palmer. And he included that in a well-known book in England at that time called Teacher's Manual. And then it was that notion, this if at first you don't succeed, try again, was expressed fully in a poem called Try Again by another educational writer named William Edward Hickson. And it's not a very long poem. It just has 3 stanzas. I'll read the first stanza for you. "'Tis a lesson you should heed, try again. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Then your courage should appear, for if you will persevere, you will conquer, never fear. Try again." So that one little line, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Many of us have that kind of ingrained in our psyche, in our beliefs, right? It's part of those beliefs that we hold in the background. And I would say here in 2024, it's a good time for us to question if a little verse from a poem from the 1800s is still a lesson that we should be using to kind of guide how we go through our lives. So maybe yes, maybe no. Let's take a look at it. So let's take a look at the first line there. If at first you don't succeed. So succeed is defined as achieve the desired aim or result. It's also defined as attain fame, wealth, or social status. Now, here in the United States, our cultural identity is very tied up with these notions of fame, wealth, and social status, isn't it? And in the common vernacular, success is all about accomplishment, attainment, achievement. In the terms of the Enneagram, which I teach often, the personality type of the country of the United States is a type 3, a very achievement-oriented personality type. So here's a quote from author Andy Harris in a writing called Spirituality and Social Action. "We live in a society that values wealth, power, and prestige. From Botox to Beamers, we are told it's all about looking good and being successful. By contrast, Jesus eschewed power and privilege. He taught and modeled another path, one of service to others, seeking reconciliation, and social justice. His example embodied humility." So that brings about this question, it's like, do we really need to be in this message of if at first you don't succeed, try again? I mean, the common use of this word succeed or success can lead us to being overly attached to societal ideas and beliefs about achievement. And that can result in us feeling less than adequate or less than worthy if we don't achieve outcomes that are approved of in outer society. Now, here at Unity of Fredericksburg, our mission is to focus on spiritual transformation. So I would suggest, my friends, if at first you don't succeed, take a breath and ask yourself some questions. So let's practice this right now. So take a moment right now and think about something you have been wanting to do. So, could be a project around the house, could be a lifestyle adjustment, maybe stop doing something that's not good for you or do more of something that is good for you. Could be a creative venture, a business idea, or a conversation that you need to have with someone that you haven't had yet. So, get something in your mind so that you can play with it as we continue on today. All right, hopefully you've got something. It can just be a little something. Now, when we want something, we are expressing a desire for it, right? Desire is actually a function of our power of love, right? Our spiritual power of love, which is a magnetizing, harmonizing, unifying energy. So when you're pondering something, dreaming about it or planning or rehearsing it or whatever, you're giving it your attention, your energy. You are loving on that idea, right? So when you take action on this idea, so whether that means it'll be something that's over quickly or you just are starting and it's going to go on, how do you want to feel? So this particular idea, this thing you've been wanting, imagine yourself now taking action on that. Now, how do you want to feel as you accomplish it or as you get started? So kind of, get that idea in your mind, put a pin in it there. And then I have another question. So kind of take a breath and erase the blackboard for a moment. Hold on to that answer you just had, but let's start with another question. How would you define success for yourself with this particular idea? So, got that answer. Now, my question is there a difference between how you answered, how you want to feel, and how you define success? And I would suggest that very often those two answers would be different because one of them's kind of coming from your heart and the other one is defined by all of these outer circumstances of doing a good job and what will people think and just kind of all kinds of things about how we define success. Now, my suggestion here is that we connect those two answers so that how you want to feel becomes your definition of success for this particular venture that you're thinking about. So, when we define success in worldly terms, so I want it by this date, I want it to be this big, I want this much money, I want it to be bigger or faster, what we end up doing is actually limiting our possibilities. Because as soon as we start putting qualifications on how our outcome is going to show up, we put blinders on so that our brain focuses on, I want it by Tuesday afternoon, and I'm not looking at any of the possibilities for what if it shows up on Sunday morning? What if it shows up on Thursday afternoon? We're focused on, I want it by Tuesday afternoon. And our brain takes instructions from us. So as soon as we go, well, this is how I want it in this time, I want this much, I want it for that long, all that stuff, then our brain just starts looking for those answers and how to get that particular answer. And we no longer are dwelling in the realm of possibility. So, and very often our brain, the parameters that it's showing us is based, of course, on the outer world, on how it looked when somebody else did it, how big it should be, when it should, how fast it should happen, all based on outer circumstances. When we define our success or define our outcome on spiritual truth instead, we remain open to the realm of possibility. So if you said, say, when I asked you about your little project and how you want to feel, maybe you said that you want to feel joyful or peaceful or satisfied. And you can recognize that there are lots and lots of different ways that you can arrive at joyful. Doesn't have to be on Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, does it? No, it can be lots of different ways. So rather than saddling on those blinders of human qualifications for what success would be for this, we set that aside and focus on the opportunities of spirit. So this is the same method that we use when we practice, when we use the unity practice of affirmations. So when we use affirmations effectively, we affirm aspects of God mind. We affirm aspects of our own divine nature. So we don't use affirmations to say, I want it to be purple, I want it to be 2 feet tall, I want it on Tuesday morning. We don't do affirmations like that. We base affirmations on spiritual truth, on principle. So we affirm love, we affirm faith, we affirm strength, we affirm understanding. If we're kind of at a loss for understanding something, we affirm the power of understanding. So when it comes to your sense of purpose, your occupational well-being, I urge you to define success in terms of spiritual truth, not outer circumstances. Here's a quote from Maya Angelou. You can only become truly accomplished at something you love. Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing. Here's another example with a slightly different spin that I really find interesting. This is from Reverend Scott Aubrey, and he is the host and genius behind the website called Spiritual Passages. So this is kind of a longer quote, but we'll pause and kind of think about it as we go. Okay. So remember, so right now, again, remember a past triumph you enjoyed, a success, an accomplishment. So take a second, do that now. Think about something in the past that went really well. Okay, put a pin in it. Now, think of a new venture, and you can use that same topic that you brought up before. Think of a new venture. Maybe it's a project with your work, or perhaps a community project you're working on, and have an outcome in mind. Think about, okay, put a pin in that one. Now, think about with the one that you did in the past, think about the qualities that you displayed as that successful thing happened. How were you showing up when that thing that went well happened? All right, I'm back in the quote now. And overlay those qualities onto this new idea that you have. Maybe you're thinking that the qualities don't line up. They don't line up from this project to that. That's okay. Just get into the feeling, the energy of those qualities, and bring that to your new opportunity. When you've enjoyed success in an area or had a positive, loving outcome in some experience, it isn't because you just get lucky. You are made of God stuff. Spirit's pleasure is to give you the kingdom. So that's a very interesting take on that, isn't it? So look at your past ventures and how you showed up and say, what if I show up with that in this one too? So again, these are, Scott Aubrey is talking about qualities of our divine nature and how we can show up with those with some new venture we have in mind. Okay. So we've looked at this word success quite a lot here. If at first you don't succeed, so now let's look at the try again part. Now, this is a lesson, again, we hear often in our culture, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, apply a little elbow grease, persevere. Now, using the premise that we've been working with today, if you have defined success in material terms, we can often experience failure, right? We can experience failure over and over again because, we're looking at, oh, look, everybody was able to do that, but I could only do this. And then we deem ourselves a failure. We become discouraged. We feel unworthy. Maybe we just quit and turn back from something that we really wanted to do. Now, when we define success in terms of a feeling or a spiritual truth, we can experience success over and over again, even if the outer result might be termed as failure, because we're in the process, not focused on the product. So, which one of those approaches do you prefer? Here's a one-liner from the most amazing comic, George Carlin. If you try to fail and succeed, which have you done? George Carlin was so brilliant with his questions, looking at language, looking at things. So if you try to fail and succeed, which have you done? All right. So we're still talking about try again. Now, is there value in perseverance? Absolutely. Here's a Chinese proverb. The temptation to quit will be greatest just before you are about to succeed. No surprise there, right, my friends? All right, so how do you know when to press on and try again and when something is just not yours to do? So I'm going to go back to this premise we've been talking about the whole time here. Number one, define success in spiritual terms. And then two, assess your progress using those same parameters. Do I see the potential for feeling peaceful? Did I experience joy? Did I experience some connection? Whatever it is that you've defined as that, what would be success in spiritual terms, you assess your progress based on that as well. You don't get into, oh, but here's what somebody else did. Somebody else did it faster than I did. So that would be the answer for how do I know? Well, you just kind of stay in your spiritual lane, right? Here's an affirmation that you can use. I am grounded in love and my purpose is clear. I'll say it again. I am grounded in love and my purpose is clear. So you want to remind yourself that change of any sort in our lives comes with some discomfort. And our brains don't like discomfort. Our brains like the comfort zone. They like to know what to expect. And your brain will automatically go, oh, that was uncomfortable. Go back. Don't try that again. It will guide us away from anything, even if it's a positive change. If it becomes difficult or uncomfortable, your brain will go, oh, no. You failed last time. Don't do that again. So again, remember how you have defined success in spiritual terms, and remember to assess your project based on those spiritual terms, not based on the little messages about you can't ever do it, or there's not enough money, or those kinds of things that your brain says. Stay in your spiritual lane. Here's another affirmation for you. All I have ever needed is within me now. I'll say it again. All I have ever needed is within me now. It's within you in that field of infinite potential that is what we call the Christ consciousness that is expressing at the point of each one of us. So here's a quote from Winston Churchill. Success is the ability to go from one failure to another with no loss of enthusiasm. So that's a good one, right? One more tip as we get to the end of our talk and head into our meditation time. As we nurture our sense of purpose, our well-being, our walk of life, remember the importance of being present in the here and now. When our mind is constantly leaning back into, oh, well, last time I tried this, it didn't go, with messages from the past, we can't take action and make change. You can only take action and make change in this current moment. We also can't do it with our heads leaning into what might happen in the future, whether it's bad or good. Here's a quote from an Episcopal priest and writer named Alan Watts. The secret of success is to being completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now. So we're going to dive right into the here and now, right here and now, as we move into our time of meditation. And in our time of meditation, take a deep breath, my friends. And if you wish, you can allow your outer eyes to drift closed. I'm going to take us on a little tour of our 12 powers as we begin our meditation. So realize, bring your energy right to your forehead right now. Right here at your forehead, there's the energy of understanding, being able to see the truth of things and see through the fog to the truth. We also find right there in our forehead, at our forehead, our power of will. And this is our power to make decisions, to take action, and our power to be willing to show up, willing to be present. Now bring your focus right between your eyes, sometimes called the third eye. And it is from this area that we have our power of imagination, to dream about and conceive of all those wonderful potential ways of being that we have. Shift your attention now kind of right into the middle center of your brain, and here is where we find our power of faith, our power to conceive of truth even when our human eyes are showing us something different. We've been talking about it today. We shift out of what our human eyes are showing us. We can shift into that power of faith. And then we move down to sort of the base of the brain, sort of at the bottom of your skull. And that, my friends, is the seat of the power of zeal, enthusiasm. Feel it there right now. And now we move to the throat, the site of the word that we speak is our power of power. For as we take all of these ideas that we have tapped into and conceived and give them words, we give them power. So we affirm that our words will be spiritual truth, not material assessments of how many showed up, how much money. This is not how we assess things. We assess things from a place of spirit, and we wrap it in spiritual words. Now let's move our energy down to the heart space. And you know, our power of love is there, my friends. That magnetizing, harmonizing, unitizing energy that draws us to our good at all times. We use that to draw us away from all of these human assessments and into the realm of spirit. Moving slightly down to the solar plexus, we find our power of wisdom, our power to look at the choices we have in front of us and discern what is ours to do. Again, not using all of those outer evaluations, but using our spiritual guidance to say yes or no. Or in the words of Jesus, let your words be yes, yes, or no, no. All right, moving down into the belly, we find our power of order, where we realize our next best steps, where we sequence things correctly and move through things in the order of mind, idea, expression, which is the definition, my friends, of divine order. From the spirit, mind, into our consciousness, idea, and into expression, divine order. Now we move our energy slightly back to our lower back, and here we find our power of strength. This is not a rigid power, my friends. This is an infinitely flexible power that allows us to stay anchored in what we know is true and be flexible and strong when the winds of outer change happen, which they do all the time. But our power of strength allows us to stay anchored. Moving again our energy to the front of the body in the generative organs, we might call it, we find our power of life. This is where we're seated, my friends, right in that grounded space where life is regenerating in every moment, where every cell of the body is created anew, where that infinite energy of wholeness is right there. And our last power, we shift our attention towards the back of the body, where we have this wonderful capacity for letting go, my friends, the power of release. As we focus in our spiritual truth, we can let go of all of these ideas that we've collected from the outer world about what is success and how we should try again. Let it go, my friends. Let it go. All that is no longer serving you in this moment, in the here and now, just let it go. And now we will move into a time of stillness together, right here, right now. And as we begin to bring our attention back to the current moment, back to our outer surroundings, our body in the seat, breath in the body, I'm going to close this time of meditation with a prayer from Scott Aubrey called A Prayer for Success. I answer the call to show up completely, to no longer hold back. I am sourced and energized by the divine. All that I am, all that I love, and all that I am called to be and to do is finding true expression ordained by the love of God. Amen. And we're going to close our time of meditation with an affirmation. Here's another affirmation for you, friends. I accomplish all things through the Spirit of truth in me. Say it with me. I accomplish all things through the Spirit of truth in me. One more time. I accomplish all things through the Spirit of truth in me. So I do, and so do you, my friends. Thank you so much for being here. And now I am going to turn it back over to our service leader, Chris.
Thank you so much for watching our weekly broadcast from Unity of Fredericksburg. You can visit our website at uofva.org to learn more about our mission of spiritual awakening and transformation. And you can support our ministry with your financial donation. Thanks again for watching, and see you.